Hey guys, welcome back for more ELEGIES. So come on, let's continue and finish up the story today. So let's go. My best friend in the whole world hisses my name through gritted teeth before he falls back limply on his hospital bed. Oh, so we're Aya now. The whirring and beeping of the machines around us slows to a steady pulse. And the monster in the lab coat leans over the bed, eyes wide.
Did it work? I can't see.
You cannot see anything even then. Zach's eyes are still open, but they're cold, lifeless. I hate seeing him that way. I wish I could close them like they do for dead bodies in the movies. But I can't even touch him. And Zach isn't even really dead. A moment later, I see him in duplicate. A blurry after image rising from his body like a reflection in a fogged up mirror. He gasps, his chest shaking. He turns his head this way and that, taking in the view of this horrible facility we're stuck in. And then he looks at me. And that's the worst part. Because he looks just as confused by me as he does by everything else.
Is that it? Is that the spirit? I think I can see something. Janine, what do you see?
Nothing, sir. I'm sorry. Zach looks back and forth between the mad scientist and then turns his head back to
What
me.
are they talking about? What's going on? Why?
He looks away again. I used the opportunity to wipe a tear from my cheek.
Well, where do I start?
Okay, did Zach lose his memories?
How's the body? What are his vitals?
Stable, sir, but we should set up an IV if you intend to keep him this way for much longer. In his state, he's probably already suffering from malnutrition.
Very well. I suppose that's all we can do for now. Would you call our associates and let them know?
The doctor's voices fades away as they head through the sliding door into the outside world. Zach is shaking, staring down at the two bodies lying next to each other in identical beds.
Where are we? Who are they?
He doesn't even recognize himself. Maybe that's for the best? His voice is a hoarse whisper as he looks to me for reassurance. Reassurance I can't provide.
And who are you?
When the tears rise up again, I can't fight them anymore.
Zach, you don't remember anything? You don't know me?
He shakes his head, eyes still full of fear and uncertainty. Your best friend. Your roommate. Your partner in crime. Practically your sister. Or I was. Before Dr. Laurent ripped another loved one away from me.
I'm here to help.
I wipe my tears again, setting my mind to task at hand.
My name is Aya.
Can you touch him now, by the way? I think she can touch him now, right? I mean, they're both ghosts now. Okay, what happened? A few hours earlier. Also, maybe this is what Aya was doing before Zach was taken, right? I cry out helplessly as I watch my best friend get tackled to the ground and restrained.
Zach, get up!
Oh yes, this is when
You can do it!
the two idiots put chloroform in Zach, right?
Get up and fight them!
Zach struggles, but it's no use. They're pressing a rag onto his face that must be chloroform or something, just like what he tried on that nurse earlier. It's working a lot better for the bad guys than it did for him.
Come on, Zach! You've beaten them before, you can do it again!
My throat is sore from screaming, but there's nothing else I can do to help.
Fight! Fight them, Zach!
If I was alive, really alive? I'd dive right in there and try to save him. But if I tried that, what if I tried that the way I'm now? I'd go flying right through those black suited creeps. They wouldn't even notice I was there. Do you know how much it sucks not being able to touch anything? Ever? I've really done my best to see the bright side of life as a ghost. Or whatever I am. There were times when I was happy. When I didn't even want anything more. It was easier when I couldn't remember what real life was like. But even then, even when I was learning people's fascinating life stories in the hospital, or having fun hanging out with Zach, I couldn't never quite get used to that loss. I had to reach out instinctively and watch my hand pass right through everything. I can't even do something as simple as holding someone's hand. Sure, I can pretend. I can reach out and leave my hand there and me there. Sometimes if I focus, I might be able to feel a hint of their warmth. But I can never touch anyone. Not really. Which means I can't fight to save my friend. I just have to watch as his murderers drag his unconscious body to a hospital bed and begin fitting his arms into restraints. The bed is right next to the other one. Mine. The remains of whoever I once was wasting away. Are they going to do the same to him?
Ah, I appeared to have arrived just in time.
The door to the secret lab slides open, and the moment I whip around to see who's talking, I freeze. The turquoise eyes behind this glass are like a window into the past. Suddenly, I'm a kid again, my legs dangling off Nolani's office chair as he leans in and talks to me about souls. I'm in middle school, dropping by my dad's work on the way home, waving to his boss and wondering why he looks so upset. And then, I'm waking up, coughing and choking in the back of a van that's speeding down the street, the sounds of sirens in the distance. And someone is telling me, it's alright, Aya. You just breathe in a bit of smoke, but you'll be okay. I am a doctor after all. And it's him. Louis Laurent, my dad's boss, sitting in the back of the van with me and a couple guys in suits I've never seen before. And I'm asking him what's going on and where my parents are, and he's telling me there was a fire, but he saved me. He saved me. And then I remember seeing my father's face in the flames, and I scream. And I'm screaming in real life now too, in the present. In the basement hallway, even though I don't remember leaving the lab. It's like some part of me saw him and instinctively knew that I had to escape. And that instinct keeps controlling me even once the flashes of memory have faded. And I can still hear myself screaming. By the time I came back to my senses again, I'm on the main floor of the hospital again. Just drifting down one of the old familiar hallways I used to traverse every day. I guess a part of me went looking for some kind of comfort or routine. But it's not the same anymore. It feels a little bit like when we went back to my old house and saw it all burn down. That was my home. But it's not anymore. It can't be. Not with everything else I know about what happened here. Not when Zach is at the mercy of the man who killed our parents just a few floors down. And there's nothing I can do to help him. Next. Yeah, what happened to Sloan, by the way, right? We sent her a message, right? But maybe there's someone who can help. Before we came here, we left a message for Detective Tyrell. Yes, as I was saying, if she got it, she'll know we're here. She cares about Zach, right? At least, she claims to. Maybe she'll come looking for him. I rushed down the hall with a renewed sense of purpose. Maybe I can find Tyrell. I could go check the police station or something. She might be there. Then at least I'll know what's going on. It'll feel a lot better than hanging around here either way. Okay, then as it turns out, I find her a lot earlier than I expected.
The boy who assaulted you, did he look like this?
Yes, that's him. Zeke. Rounding the corner toward the hospital's main entrance, I immediately spot her. Two broad-shouldered uniformed cops stand beside her as she aims a skeptical squint at her old friends from the ER, an old school photo of Zach in her hand.
Really? This kid beat you up? He's 16 and he walks with a cane.
Well, he got the jump on me. Clearly. Tyrell doesn't know about Zach's special cane attack.
If you're sure it was him, then... Did you see which way he went?
Nope. I was out cold. Of his own volition. But there's probably some security footage if you want. Tyrell looks at her silent sidekick and nods.
Where would we find that?
Security rooms this way. Okay, Zeke gestures for the three police officers to follow him and leads the way down the hall. I find myself smiling at the good news. Tyrell is here. In spite of everything, she really came to help. The security cameras will show which way we went. There's no way she won't be able to find Laurent's lab now. I bet it will only take her 10 minutes or so to get down there and save Zach. I'd better go back and make sure he's okay. So is this the present time now? When we went down and saw Zach getting his soul transferred. Or sucked out, I mean. I head back into the lower levels of the hospital where the research facilities are. It's quieter down here without all the patients and the beeping of the machines monitoring their vital signs. Even I don't know these hallways all that well. I was always more interested in seeing new people come in and watching them recover than exploring the places where solemn-faced scientists did their mysterious work. But I still have that supernatural tugging feeling toward the lab to guide me along. That, and on my way I noticed another familiar face, Dr. Taylor, pushing a cart loaded with mad science-looking technology. I drift along behind her, letting her lead me further into the depths. And that's how I ended up here. Looking at this empty shell of my best friend who can't even remember who I am. But I lost my memories once too. And he saved me. So I can save him.
Aya? It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, Zach.
I do my best to put on a friendly face and pretend everything is fine.
Look, Zach, it's not really safe here right now. But don't worry. Someone's on her way to help us. Let's go out and meet her, okay? I'm sure she'll be here soon.
Oh, okay.
Zach looks a little confused. Who wouldn't be? But there's an innocence to his eyes too, like a little kid. He doesn't seem to question me for long.
Who is she?
A detective. Some bad guys put us down here in this weird lab, but she's going to stop them. Come on, let's go find her.
I zip through the wall back out to the office on instinct. And then realize that Zach isn't following me. Right. He doesn't know how to do that yet. When I pop back in to tell him, his eyes are wide with shock.
Did you?
Walk through the wall? Yeah. You can too. Come on.
I reach out a hand even though he won't really be able to take it.
Oh, I get it.
Zach's voice is still shaking a bit, but he nods firmly as if to convince himself.
Is it like a fake wall? Like a hologram or something?
I guess he hasn't quite wrapped his head around the whole ghosting yet. Now's probably not the best time to spring it on him.
Yeah, a hologram. Let's go with that.
Wow, we really are in a top secret science lab. Okay, walking through walls time. Now!
He moves forward tentatively, but his face lights up when he makes it to the other side.
Wow, that's so cool! We were in, like, a secret room!
Sorry,
It's not cool, Zach.
I find myself huffing in frustration, even though there's really no way for him to know.
We were prisoners. He put us in a secret room so no one else could find us.
Oh,
Zach pouts for a moment.
but it would be cool if it was anywhere else. Like, if we could have a hologram like that to hide a secret clubhouse.
I shake my head. His obliviousness is a little frustrating, but it's kinda cute all the same. Is this what I was like before I got my memories back?
Sure, yeah. I guess something like that would be pretty cool. But come on, we're not safe yet. There's another hologram this way.
Cool.
I lead Zach back out into the main lab. The coast looks clear, so I head for the door back out to the hallway. But before we reach it, I hear muffled voices from the other side and I motion for Zach to stop.
Well, if you're certain he's not there, then you wouldn't mind me having a quick look around to check, would you?
Of course not, Detective. Do come in.
My heart swells with hope for a moment as I watch Tyrell cross the threshold of the lab. The two other officers she brought with her following closely behind. They're really here. Maybe they can help us. At the very least, they'll find out what Laurent is up to, right? But a moment later, my hope is drowned out with a sinking sense of anxiety as Laurent glides through after them.
Just be careful with the scientific instruments, will you? I'm sure I don't have to remind you how expensive they are.
Seeing his face and hearing his voice sends a chill down my spine every time.
Who are all those people? What's going on? Shh.
Instinctively, I gesture for Zach to be quiet and lead him back into Laurent's office where the mad scientist is out of our line of sight. They can't hear you anyway. Why do you need to be quiet? I don't actually know if Laurent would be able to hear us talking. What little psychic ability he has might not be that advanced, but I'd also rather not find out.
Those police officers, they're here to help us.
I do my best to sum up the situation in a whisper.
But if that awful mad scientist spots us, he'll probably get rid of them somehow.
Zach furrows his brow.
The scientist. He's one of the bad guys you mentioned.
Yes! He's the reason we're trapped down here.
But if he sees us, won't the cops be able to see us too? And then they'll help us.
I sigh. If only it was that easy.
I don't think so. This is a little hard to explain, but not everyone can see us. Not even the scientists can see us very well, so we can probably hide from him if we have to. But if he's looking for us and concentrating, he might catch a glimpse. Those cops out there, though? I don't think they'll be able to see us at all.
Oh,
Zach's face lights up with dawning realization. If it's figured out what we are, then I'm pleasantly surprised he doesn't seem too upset about
did
it.
the scientist hide us with some kind of cloaking technology?
Oh, never mind. He's still living in a sci-fi world. Then again, considering the kind of technology Laurent has developed, I guess I can't blame him.
Yeah. It's something like that. So we need to wait for the cops to find some other evidence. Because they can't see us, and if he sees us, I don't know what he'll do.
I shiver at the memory of the kind of things Laurent has done in the past.
Something horrible, probably. But the detective will find something. I'm sure she will.
She has to, right?
Okay.
Zach smiles as he genuinely has full confidence in what I'm saying. Poor guy. He really shouldn't.
This detective, you've met her before?
Yeah, a few times.
How come? Are you
gasps in excitement.
Are you a detective too?
Me? No, I'm just Aya. Although,
Maybe keeping this conversation going will be good for him. It could keep him from thinking too hard about everything else going on. I tried to split my focus between Zach and the voices in the rest of the lab as I begin to spin my
I
tail.
was the detective's assistant once.
No way!
Zach grins just like he used to when we'd make up an adventure stories together.
So you helped solve mysteries?
Yup, one time the detective and I had to go knocking on a bunch of doors in the bad part of town to see if anyone around there knew this missing person you were looking for. But it turned out we weren't the only ones looking.
Whoa!
Zach raises his eyebrows.
Were the bad guys looking too?
You bet there were. And they lured us into their hideout pretending they had important clues for us.
What did you do then? How did you escape?
Well, it wasn't easy. But you should have seen how brave my detective friend was. He had to jump down from the fire escape and run away without the bad guys noticing he was gone.
Wow! But he managed it?
Yup, and he was even already injured and walking with a cane because of, another case. But he didn't care how much it hurt. He jumped down there anyway and made his escape.
Awesome. He sounds really cool. What was his name?
John Smith. The question catches me off guard. I'm suddenly hit with a wave of sadness. He really doesn't remember.
It was John. He was the greatest detective I ever worked with. And my best friend.
Zach's face falls.
Where is he now? He didn't die or something, did he?
No, he didn't die.
I mean, technically he did. Almost. I shake my head vigorously. No, Zach didn't die.
He's just, not doing well right now. But he's going to get better soon. And then we'll solve more mysteries together.
Zach gives me a sympathetic smile at the news of his own poor health.
That's good. I'm glad. I'd love to meet him one day.
You will. I promise.
Just one more thing, Doctor.
Okay, we're here. Or they're here, I mean. I jump at the sound of Tyrell's voice much closer and clearer now than it was a few minutes ago. She must be right outside the office door.
What's behind this door here?
That's simply my personal office where I keep my book collection and other such frivolities.
Even though he's on the other side of the door, I feel like I can see the dismissive gesture Laurent must be making with one of his pale teen hands.
Would you be so good as to open it for us?
Of course, allow me to input the code.
I freeze as I hear the faint sound of the keypad beeping. Tyrell is coming here, and which is good. She's so close to finding the door to the secret lab and blowing the cover on all of Laurent's crimes. But if Laurent is coming in with her, what if he sees us? What will he do? Zach turns to me, clearly thinking the same thing.
Should we go hide somewhere else then?
Shh! Just stay still.
That's probably our best bet for making sure Laurent doesn't notice any kind of flickering that might draw his attention. Like, look at Laurent and Zach. They really look alike. Right? A very, very similar face. I grimace in fear and anticipation as the door swings open to admit the 3 police officers along with Laurent and his henchwoman Taylor. The 2 uniformed cops keep their eyes on Laurent and Taylor. One of them has his hand on his holster and his belt. Tyrell strolls in confidently like she owns the place.
A-Y-A-F-A-R-A-J, huh? Any significance to those letters?
I'm shocked at first to hear Tyrell spelling out my name. Then I realized she must have been watching closely when Laurent typed in the code. Was it really my name again, like on a tablet? Laurent isn't very creative. Laurent's face twitches before he answers with a slight strain as in usual comic inflection.
You have a good eye, detective.
It's kind of a requirement for the job. So, does it mean anything?
I'm afraid not. It's simply an assortment of random letters. It changes on a regular basis, in fact. We get a lot of interns rotating through these labs, and it's important to me to keep my personnel's belongings secure.
Random. That's interesting.
Tyrell muses as she wanders over toward one of the bookshelves and strokes a few of the spines. The brush of her fingers against the book is the only sound in the room as Laurent's lips struggle to formulate the response. I feel lightheaded as I've been holding my breath even though I can't actually breathe in the first place. I don't know if I believe in any kind of God. My parents did, but it's hard to maintain that kind of faith when your life has gone so terribly wrong. Look at Laurent's eyes. What the hell is that? That you can't imagine any loving deity while letting it happen that way. That and when you're basically died but you're still hanging around here on Earth. Still, as Laurent nervously watches Tyrell examining his bookshelves, I pray. I pray to whoever or whatever is out there to let her stumble across the book that will open the door.
Yes, random.
Laurent slides a shaking hand into the pocket of his lab coat, as if to hide it.
Is it so strange? I'm sure plenty of security systems have randomly assigned codes.
It's just a funny coincidence, is all. Because I've been looking into the history of the research that's been done at this hospital. Ever since a few strange events convinced me that there might be more to it than meets the eye.
Oh?
Laurent adjusts his glasses.
Then you'll know all about my work treating comatose patients, of course. No doubt you'll have heard all about its importance to the medical field and the variety of significant donors who have contributed to the...
In fact, I have, Doctor. And I also happen to know that you once employed a man by the name of Dr. Farage. Until his untimely death, that is. He died in a house fire, didn't he? Along with his wife and daughter.
Did he?
Laurent answers with a high-pitched, nervous chuckle.
Really, Detective, I've employed so many researchers over the years that I...
Look at this, he could kill people so easily, but he's scared if he's getting pressed.
Oh, no.
I mean,
I
he's very
misspoke.
scared, I mean.
Dr. Farage and his wife died in the house fire. That's true. But one of the strangest things I uncovered in my research is that no one ever found their daughter's body. She's still on record as a missing person. Presumed dead, but still missing.
Is that so?
I hang on every shaky word that comes out of Laurent's mouth, desperate for him to play into Tyrell's hands and reveal something that ends this case once and for all.
Yes, it is. And the funny coincidence is that her name was Aya. Aya Farage. Ayafaraj.
She draws out each letter of my name slowly, watching for Laurent's reaction. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Zach's gaze darting back and forth between the detective, the doctor, and me. As lost and confused as he is right now, I'm sure there's still a pretty smart guy in there somewhere. He must be starting to figure out what's really going on.
All right, fine. I admit it.
Flustered, Laurent throws his hands up in the air. I glide forward slightly out of excitement. Is he really going to tell Tyrell the truth?
The code isn't random, all right. It's Aya's name. Of course it is. I knew her, of course. Her father worked under me for many years. Always liked the girl. She had such an imagination. I was terribly saddened by what happened to her family. I set the code on the door in her memory and kept it that way. Sentimental. Embarrassing. That's why I didn't want to tell you.
Come on. How is he still trying to talk his way out of this? Tyrell must know the truth, right? If not, the whole truth, she knows there's something going on here. She has to be able to get it out of him. He can't get away with this. If there's anyone out there who can stop him, please. Desperately, I leap toward the book of Elegies on the shelf as if I could guide Tyrell's hand.
So you did know her. You knew she was... Huh?
To my surprise, she turns her head in my direction, brows furrowed in confusion.
No.
Laurent whispers under his breath, and I feel like if I had a heart, it would have stopped cold. I messed up. I moved too quickly and he saw me. Or whatever kind of flickering in the air he knows might be me. But somehow Tyrell is looking too.
You just said you knew Aya. You can't take that.
No!
Tyrell seems to shake off her confusion as she looks back at Laurent. But his face is panic and he keeps gaze is fixed on me. Tyrell looks back again and peers closer.
Wait, what are you looking at? What is that?
A sudden realization sends a tremor straight through me. Tyrell, can she see me? Does she have a hint of that psychic ability herself? The one that's sending Laurent into convulsions right now?
Why?
Laurent cries out and clutches his lab coat to his chest.
Why come back now? After all these years that I've spent? No!
Should we get a nurse?
Wait.
Tyrell holds up a hand to stop one of her uniformed assistants from leaving.
What are you talking about, Doctor? Who's coming back now?
No!
Laurent is incoherent in his anguish. It's like seeing me again broke him. The same way he almost broke me. But Tyrell is focused on him now. That moment she almost noticed me is gone. Was that my last chance to show her the whole truth? Or...
Zach!
And one last idea pops into my mind. One final shot in the dark to accomplish that what we came here to do. Zach looks over at me in confusion. He must be overwhelmed by the spectacle playing out in front of him.
Come over here, quick!
You...
He responds with a whisper, shifting his eyes between me and the wailing mad scientist in the middle of the room.
You said to stay still and be quiet.
It doesn't matter now. Come on. Come here.
Tentatively, he glides across the floor in my direction.
Come right here.
And then I do something I've never done before. I dive straight at my best friend. If we were real, normal living people, I'd careen into him and knock him over. And we'd both probably get an injury or two. But we're not normal. We're anything but. And I stop myself right before I reach the other side. The other side of his incorporeal body. It feels weird. It feels wrong. Like my skin is crawling. Except that I don't have skin.
What are you doing?
And it must be even worse for Zach. He didn't even know he was a ghost until I suddenly jumped right into him. But I think it's about to be worth it. Because Tyrell is turning to face us like the light caught the corner of her eye.
Are you guys seeing this?
Yes. She really notices. We're right in front of that Elegies book. Come on.
Aya, what's... I don't understand. Why?
Sorry, Zach, but I can't explain it to you right now. I need to focus all my energy on staying in place. Keeping our bodies overlapping right next to the bookshelf so the light is brighter. Tyrell reaches out her hand and gasps as it goes right through us. On the other side, her fingers brush the spine of the book that's a key to the door. Invitations to Farewell, a book of elegies. Brows knitted in confusion, she tries to take the book off the shelf. And there's a click. And I dive out the other side of Zach's body, shivering from the uncanniness of the experience. I turn to look back and see Tyrell hop out the way as the bookshelf swings outward. It goes right through Zach, who's still floating there, looking more lost than ever. Okay, we go to the lab now. There, she can see the bodies now. Yes. And on the other side of the door, right in the center of the secret lab, are pale bodies lying motionless in identical hospital beds. My God. One of the other cops at Tyrell's side covers his mouth in shock.
It can't be. Is that Zachary? And
Tyrell whirls to point an accusatory look in Laurent's direction.
what's going on down here? What did you do to them?
Meanwhile, the cops rush over to the bodies. One of them reaches out to check my pulse. It's strange to watch someone touch me all the way over there, and to feel nothing at all. Zach is still quiet, but I can only imagine he feels the same way. They're still breathing.
What did you do? How do we wake them up?
A drop of spit from Tyrell's mouth lands on Laurent's face, but his only reaction is a creepy, unhinged chuckle. A moment later, a shaky Dr. Taylor steps forward. They're comatose, Detective. More or less. To be more specific, well, it's hard to explain to a layman.
Try me.
Tyrell's sarcastic response simmers with rage. She yanks the unresponsive Laurent's hand behind his back and snaps on a pair of handcuffs while still glaring across the room at Dr. Taylor. It's unbelievably satisfying to see that a horrible man in chains. This may be difficult to believe about Dr. Laurent's work. He separated their souls from their bodies.
Their souls?
Tyrell sounds skeptical, and I can't blame her. I wouldn't have believed it either if it hadn't happened to
You
me.
call yourself a scientist and you're talking to me about souls?
Taylor lets out a brisk sigh. Call it what you like, Detective, but whatever spark of consciousness makes those children who they are has been severed. Dr. Laurent believed that said consciousness could remain alive outside of the body, but
So you're saying there's a way to put them back?
theoretically, yes. However, the practical element of the work isn't.
Well, do it!
Tyrell draws her pistol from its holster and Taylor lifts her hand into the air in surrender. Free of the detective's grasp, Laurent collapses against the bookshelf beside her.
Unless you'd like to be looking at a life sentence as an accessory to child endangerment and murder.
I can try. But you have to understand, Detective. I can't make any guarantees. This step in the process hasn't been tested yet. Not on humans anyway. They may be beyond saving.
If they are, then you and your boss are beyond saving too. Do it! Now!
Okay, Taylor nods in deference to Tyrell's order and her high heels clack against the floor as she enters the secret lab and approaches her bodies. The sound echoes, forming a steady rhythm with the soft beeps of the machines hooked up to our near lifeless frames. Everyone else is silent, even Laurent. Then, as Taylor begins adjusting some buttons and dials, Zach turns to me and finally speaks, his voice barely above a whisper.
Are we dead, Aya? Are those our bodies?
I shake my head with vigor.
We're not dead, Zach. We're alive. You're right, those are our bodies, but they're alive. We're just not in them.
Zach's face is drawn and hurried.
Is that scientist going to put us back?
I don't know.
Could it really work? Is there really a way for us to go back? For me to return to my physical form after all these years? Could that emaciated body on the bed survive the shock? Could I? The beeps are louder now. The machines are wiring and clicking along with the doctor's heels, as she shifts briskly between them, making adjustments to several at once.
What's happening? Is it working?
Hard to tell. There are so many variables. It should work if the souls are close enough to the bodies, but if they're outside of range, she mutters to herself as she makes her rounds between the machines again, touching knobs and dials here and there. And I know what we have to do.
Come on, Zach.
I look over at him with the most encouraging smile I can manage, and I poise myself for another fateful dive. Okay, we're going back to the bodies now. That simple? Okay. A few months later already? What? What is that? Why did it skip like that? On a sweltering hot day near the end of summer, I stand on the sidewalk outside of Fred's diner and nervously check my phone for the millionth time. I'm still leaning on my cane, but okay, we're Zach now. But it's more out of habit than anything else at this point. Ever since I got back into physiotherapy, my leg has been doing a lot better. I could probably leave the cane at home most days, but some lingering anxiety makes me keep it by my side. I shudder to remember how much pain I was when I had to go without back then. Back then, it feels like a totally different life. I guess for a little while, it literally was. There are no new messages on my phone. Again. So I sigh as I drop it back into my pocket. Then my morose expression turns into a big grin as I look up and recognize the girl crossing the street toward me.
Aya!
Oh, she also returned. Nice. Maurizio's manner. Look at her shirt.
Zach!
She's still wearing the bangles. My best friend skips the last few steps toward me and gives me a big hug. Despite the summer heat, I don't complain about the warmth of her body. It's just nice that she's not freezing cold anymore and that we can finally hug like this for real.
You're late! I was worried your foster mom wouldn't let you come.
After everything that happened with Dr. Laurent, I ended up getting sent to different foster homes to stay until we turn 18. Well, I technically is older than that, but her physical body anyway. But I just can't bring myself to think of her as being college age. And neither can Tyrell. I think she might have fudged the paperwork a bit to get Aya some extra support for a few years instead of throwing her out on her own. Anyway, my foster parents aren't bad, but Aya's are a little too strict. Her foster mom got in her head and that a girl's Aya's age, whatever she thinks that is, shouldn't be hanging out with boys unsupervised. No matter how much we tried to explain that I'm practically her brother.
Nah, she's calmed down a bit about us hanging out now that she's gotten to know you a bit more. I just got on the wrong bus by accident and had to turn around and come back.
I laugh as we finally break apart.
You got on the wrong bus? How many times did we take the bus around town back when we were on the run? You should know all the routes like the back of your hand.
Well, it's not like I know the back of my hand all that well either, you know? It's different than it used to be.
Okay, fair. But you'd better start learning the bus routes better before school starts next month. I'm not covering for you if you're late to class.
Aya gasped in a mock offense.
You're not? What's the point of being in the same school as my best friend if you're not going to distract the teacher from me? Or like, tell her I had a very serious emergency to deal with or something.
I smile at the thought of the new lives we're about to start as high school students together. Even though we're both repeating a grade, plus it'll probably take us a while to refresh our memories about math and stuff. It'll be fun to do it together.
Serious emergency, huh? Like what?
Like, the cops had to call me in to use my expertise to solve a mystery.
Oh, right.
Her hypothetical scenario lands a little too close to the truth. I had put out of my mind for a minute there.
Speaking of the cops, we're late.
I open the door of the diner behind us and step across the threshold as the familiar bell chimes. Red's Diner. There in the booth by the corner is the person who summoned us here today. Tyrell, our uneasy ally in the local police force, and the only one other than the two of us who comes close to understanding what we've been through. Detective Sloane Tyrell. She looks tired. Her clothes are rumpled and there's an almost comically large cup of coffee on the table next to an ample serving of breakfast food. She takes a swig as she gestures for us to join her.
Have a seat. Want some coffee?
Coffee?
Aya's eyes light up as she slides onto the cushioned seat of the
I
booth.
want coffee. I'll have a latte with...
No chance.
I cut her off as I sit down beside her.
Last time you had coffee, you were bouncing off the walls.
Only because I used to be able to walk through the walls. It's a little confusing that I can't anymore.
Shh! Don't say that so loud. Aya will have a cup of green tea. And I'll have a black coffee.
Aww.
Aya pouts theatrically as the detective conveys our orders to a nearby diner employee. Tyrell watches carefully to make sure the server retreats behind the counter and then fixes us with a solemn expression.
I called you here today because I have some bad news.
Her seriousness is slightly undercut by her simultaneous shoveling of an overflowing forkful of food into her
The
mouth.
case against Laurent is getting dropped.
What? The detective's mouth is full of scrambled eggs that it takes me a moment to parse her garbled words. But the instant I understand, I'm furious.
What?
I rise to my feet and slam my hands down on the table. Beside me, Aya flinches at the sound.
The case is being dropped? He killed people. There's evidence.
I stop to gasp for breath, my heart pounding.
Sit down, Zachary.
She gestures with a fork toward the shocked faces of other diners, and I sheepishly follow her orders.
Believe me, I was just as outraged as you were when I found out. I got into this job to bring killers like him to justice. And after seeing everything that was going on in that secret lab of his,
Tyrell shudders.
if it was up to me, I'd hunt that man to the ends of the earth for what he did to the two of you. And your families. But it's not up to me. And just between us.
She leans conspiratorially across the table, smearing a stripe of ketchup across her tie.
My boss is getting pressured by some very important organizations.
That's why. She shifts her eyes around the diner as she whispers, ensuring that all the hapless customers around us have turned their attention back to their breakfast.
Whatever Laurent was involved in is bigger than us. I just don't have the power to take him down.
What do you mean you don't have the power?
I hiss at her across the table, mindful even in my rage of her surroundings.
You're the police. It's your job to send criminals to jail.
Tyrell shrugs and slumps back against the cushions of the diner booth.
If only that was true. More than anything else, it's my job to keep the peace. And that means keeping important political relationships going smoothly. Sometimes to do that, we have to let the criminals go free.
This is ridiculous.
I stand up again, wanting nothing more than to get back outside where I can yell or kick a tree or something.
I think you just suck at your job.
Tyrell only sips her coffee in reply.
But after everything we did,
I look down at Aya and realize she's on the verge of tears.
we found all that evidence and you saw what happened. We worked so hard.
I know. I'm sorry.
And he just gets to go free? What if
Aya turns to me, her eyes full of fear.
he comes after us again?
I don't think he'd risk that. With any luck, his colleagues will get him out of town where he's not likely to get caught again. But if you ever need help...
The detective reaches into her pocket and produces a familiar business card. How many of this has she tried to give me? I've lost count. This time she slides it across the table to Aya.
You can call me. I might not be able to give him what he really deserves, but I still care. Believe me.
I don't believe you, actually. And I don't care what you have to say.
Not wanting to hear any more of this nonsense, I seize Aya's arm and guide her back out of the diner. She grabs a business card on her way out and thrusts it into her bag, as if it will do any good. In a rage, I drag Aya a few blocks until she finally protests and jerks her arm away.
Zach, I'm tired. I was basically in a coma for years, remember? My leg muscles are still really weak.
Right. Sorry.
I know what that's like. I scan our surroundings and lead over to our nearby park bench where we sink down in unison. I let out a very frustrated sigh.
What are we going to do, Aya? Everything we did, it feels like it was for nothing.
I mean, yeah. She nods, her lower lip
I
trembling.
know, and even after what Tyrell said, I'm scared. If none of those guys are in jail then, they could find us again. And the cops aren't going to do anything.
I know.
I tilt my head back, letting it hang over the back of the bench and giving myself an upside-down view of a few other groups of people in the park. 2 children playing on swings, watched over by an attentive parent. My chest tightens and I flick my gaze in the other direction. A gaggle of teenage girls on another bench chat over giant ice cream cones. Normal kids enjoying what's left for their summer before school starts. If only Aya and I could be that carefree. Then behind the girls leaning against a tree, I notice a man on his own. He's smoking a cigarette and swiping idly on his phone with the other hand. I sit back up and twist to get a better look at him. He's not wearing a suit like they used to, but even in casual clothes I recognize him anywhere.
Aya,
I whisper, my heart pounding, like the old days.
don't make it too obvious, but look at that guy over there.
I tilt my head in his direction and hear Aya gasp. So I'm not just paranoid, it really is him. Our old friend, the Murder Inc. trainee. What? Maybe he's gotten a promotion since then.
I knew it!
Her voice squeaks with emotion.
Still after us! We can't!
Aya presses her face into my shoulder and I feel her tears soaking through my
We
shirt.
can't escape! No matter what! They'll keep watching us everywhere we go!
I'm scared too. Scared and angry. But with my friend crying on my shoulder, I also feel a rising instinct to protect her and cheer her up, like she always used to do for me.
What are you talking about, Aya?
I shoot her a smile when she tilts her head up to look at me again.
We can escape anything. I jumped out a window at least twice, and you figured out how to get us back in our bodies. You brought us back to life. We can do anything.
There are still tears in her eyes, but she giggles a little bit and I beam.
Shh, don't say that so loud!
We can go somewhere else. Anywhere we want. Somewhere far away where they won't find us.
Really?
With everything we've been through together already, we can handle it. I know we can. A new life. Come on. You didn't really want to go back to school next month, did you? We won't need to know any math if we run away. Except like a budgeting, I guess. But
Aya laughs loudly and genuinely and throws her arms around me.
Zach, you're the best friend ever.
I try. Well, should we hop on a bus out of town?
I don't
Aya interrupts herself for a moment with more laughing.
know where any of the buses go, remember?
Me neither. Let's find out together.
Okay.
Okay. And they're gone. I stand up and reach out to help Aya to her feet. Her hand in mine is warm and she leans on my shoulder as we walk together to the bus stop. The first stop on her journey to a new life. Oh my god, that's it? Give me a second. Jane Titor? Isn't it John Titor? Titor isn't that what do you call this? Time traveler? Kai-yi. So yeah, the game is okay. It's just fine, honestly. It's an okay visual novel, not gonna lie. But it's kind of sad though, like that Zach technically lost everything, even his aunt. Yeah, there were very nice moments with him and his aunt, but she still died. Could we prevent that though? Maybe the other decisions? Like, is there other routes in this? I mean, there's an... Yeah, look at this. It's this one. There was another... Or when we chose to call Tyrell, right? There was another one that we could just go on our own. Maybe that splits the path because Tyrell is not gonna go there. And I wonder what happens if we chose that. Maybe we are still ghosts, right? Maybe Zach still gets his soul sucked out and they're just stuck like that. Maybe. So maybe we got the good ending? I mean, Laurent got free still. So is it really like a bittersweet ending, I suppose? Because both of them are or Aya became went back to her body, and also Zach as well. So bittersweet, I guess. Yeah, bittersweet ending. Yeah, but I wish Aunt Claire didn't have to die. So sad, man. Come on. I just wish it didn't have to die. But it is what it is. It happened. Can we skip this, by the way? If these are credits, maybe there's more scenes that we can check. Okay, let's see. Or is it gonna go back to the menu? Nothing is happening.
Poor kids.
Okay, there we go. More scenes. They've officially put out another missing bulletin for Zachary Gilbert, alongside one for Aya Faraj. Both their foster families called within a couple hours of each other when they didn't come home. Maybe I should have seen that coming, done more to protect them somehow. But there's nothing I can do for them anymore. I'm not under case. My boss made it very clear, in fact, that I am decisively not under case. Not if I want to keep my job anyway.
Some job this is.
I light up one of the cigarettes that I'm always trying to quit and lean against the wall of an alleyway. One of many alleyways in this city that are like home to me after how many nights I spent patrolling them as a beat cop before my promotion to detective. Back then, I was full of naive ideas about how much the police did to help people. I thought that if I had worked hard enough to make detectives, then I could start really finding justice for people who needed it. But there was no justice for Zach and I or for their families. With the two of them on the run again, now or worse, I don't know if I really did anything to help them at all. I take a long bitter drag of my cigarette and find myself coughing. I should really quit these things. Maybe that's not the only thing I should quit either.
It's a shame we have to meet again under such unfortunate circumstances.
You!
Oh, a hitman. Oh, it's the guy with the green one. He was the one in front of the house that shot Aunt Claire. The shadows in the alleyway hide the details of his face, but I still recognize him anywhere. His steady hands are pointing a gun in my direction, and I fumble at my belt for mine.
What the hell are you?
I really am sorry about this, Detective Tyrell.
Oh my god, I don't even know. It actually ended now. Okay. So I don't know now if Aya and Zach did get kidnapped or did they just leave, right? So it's very hard to know now. Oh my god. And it says to be continued. Will there ever be a sequel? Who knows? So yes, this is it for elegiesaya, guys. I don't know what score you would give this, but for me it's okay. It's good visual novel. Short one. How many parts was this? 10 parts, right? Yeah, about 5 hours. Oh no, not 5 hours. Technically more, like 7-8 hours. Yes, we finished. It just got very long by the end, right? Like a lot of stuff was happening, especially when we got some answers, right, for the project Elegies. The story got very long there. Yeah, but as I said, good visual novel. So anyways, this is it, as I said. I'll just see you whenever, wherever. Bye-bye.